With so much software and so many services available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 20 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Techsplain series. Protection is an important word on its own, and in our business, besides protecting our business, we need to protect our properties. And mention security deposits, and a lot of people will start to groan. The dilemma is protecting your property without upsetting the guest by asking for a security deposit. New travelers don't want to pay a security deposit. Thank you very much, Airbnb. But besides good insurance for guest damage, without a security deposit, you're open to losing money. The pushback was always about the funds taken or frozen from a guest's account or credit card. Today, we'll learn how security deposits don't have to affect your guests' spending money while they're enjoying a stay at your property. Today, my guest is Nicholas, who will explain what Swikly does. Hello, Nicholas. How are you?
Hello, Deborah. I'm very well. Thank you very much for the invitation and the chance to talk about our solution.
Yes, I'm looking forward to learning more about it. I do believe it's a very good product. So, Nicholas, starting off as we always do, can you please tell us in one sentence, what does Swikly do?
Well, basically, in a nutshell, we just help property managers protect their rentals and reservations using technology. That, in a nutshell, that's how I would call it.
Okay, great. Now, I want to start using Swikly. Security deposits are a pain, and I want to start using Swikly to give it a go. What is the process? How do I get on board? And then how does it work for me?
So we're already integrated into a lot of the tools that property managers use. So all the main PMS we're integrated in. So that helps you automate your security deposit requests. You're going to save a lot of time and energy and fuss around this thanks to this integration. So all the requests are automated. Something interesting also is the automation of the closure. So if your guest hasn't if you haven't needed to claim any deposit, then we're automatically also going to send them a message once they've left their stay to tell them that everything is okay, the deposit has been cleared, thank you for your stay.
So as a property manager, if I choose to collect the security deposit a week before arrival, for example, or let's say 3 days, if it's going to be automated, it's going to be easy, let's say 3 days, do I have a dashboard, a Swikly dashboard, or how do I say, okay, I want the request to go out 3 days before and the clearing 3 days after checkout?
Absolutely. All that is up to you. So typically we would recommend sending a message out 1 or 2 weeks before the arrival of the guest. It's an important factor because we want that psychological effect. We want the guest to remember that he has made a deposit, basically, even though, as we're going to talk a little bit more later, it's a really light touch on the deposit. So the guest remembers, the guest is careful. Obviously, it's what we want. And then you can change the date. Typically, we would recommend 20 days after departure to close the deposit. That gives you enough leeway to be able to take your time, whatever, to be able to claim your deposit. And at the same time, it's close enough for the guest to remember and not to worry too much.
So to change these filters, so, when to send out, I do have a dashboard, a Swikly dashboard.
Okay. Absolutely. And we've got a great support team. So if we can really fine tune all that. So the support team can change that to 10 days after departure, 15 days, 20 days, 30 days. And we will basically always have an integration meeting with our team. We have specialists for each of the PMS. They know the tools very well. And we do go hand in hand with you at the moment when you launch the process, just to make sure that you understand exactly what's going out to your guest. You can change, you can fine tune, and we will basically tell you where you can select all the things depending on your tool.
Now, let's say I've got 5 properties. Let's say one is a studio and let's say one is a 5-bedroom luxury house. So obviously the security deposit's different. So I can go into each property, pick the security deposit amount and also the number of days or weeks before and after for each property.
Absolutely, absolutely. Our integrations in most PMS are really great, and you can select the channels. You mentioned Airbnb. If you do want to use the air cover service, you can exclude Airbnb, for example. You can choose different goods. Basically, if you've got some apartments or if you've got villas, obviously you're going to need a different deposit amount. So all that is something you can amend. You can really fine tune, as I said, to your use, depending on channels, depending on the length of the stay, depending on where the people are staying, depending on seasonality also. We can really go into the detail.
So okay, let's say I've signed up with you. Let's say I've got all my properties. It's all integrated with my PMS. I've set all my amounts. I've set all the timings. Then what happens? That means that after that, I don't have to do anything more, right? You just take over.
What happens then? The magic happens. We just take over. So all these requests are going to go out automatically. And the only thing you're going, and basically closing each case is also going to close automatically. The only thing you are going to have to deal with, of course, is your claims. So this is where knowing the dashboard is useful, but it's a very simple dashboard where you're going to get all the details of the customer on each line, one line for each deposit. And towards the end, you've got some action buttons, and one of them is claim the deposit. So you can claim all the way to the ceiling of the amount you've secured. And at that point, you just enter the amount you want to claim. You enter a message for the guest. So just typically, dear guest, thank you for your stay. Unfortunately, we do have to claim for this broken chair. We're sending pics to our deposit manager, and you can get in contact with them. Thank you for your understanding. So you enter the pics there. That's basically your declaration. We can always refer to that at a later date if we need to, either with the guest or with basically, in some cases, the bank. If there's a bank repudiation process, it's important to have this done formally. But that's about it. The only thing you then manage are your claims.
So in terms of the claims, as a property manager, I say how much it's going to take, how much the damage was. I send you the evidence. Do you then liaise with the guest? You look after all of that. All I'm going to hear is, here's the money, or the guest doesn't want to pay. I mean, what can I hear back once I've sent you that claim?
These are all the noises I love to hear, because that's exactly what we do. Let's face it, it's a lose-lose relationship between you and your client. Everything that we can do, which takes the attention away from you when there's a claim, is beneficial. So once you've done that, if the guest does get back to you and is not happy, I'm sorry, I did not process that claim. I have a third-party provider, Swikly. Please contact them. They will let you know. They will help you through, give you all the information. So immediately, the guest is going to associate somebody else with this. Well, and it's basically lots of anxiety created by this process for both parties. So we will obviously help with that.
Yeah. So it's basically like, deal with my insurance company. I've made the claim. You have to deal with the insurance company now.
Absolutely. But it's much more flexible, obviously, than dealing with an insurance company.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So then, let's go back to the beginning of the journey then.
Okay.
Automatically the email, automatically the booking comes in, the time has come for a security deposit notification. So an email gets sent to the guest?
Typically, an email gets sent out to the guest with a little explanation. Here is the link to secure your deposit. And this is very important. We also inform the guest at that moment. We secure our deposit with Swikly, and it means that no debit is going to occur on your card, and basically no hold is going to happen on your card. This is a €0 or $0 transaction where we're going to screen your cards, keep your card details, and that's it. There will be no impact on your account or on your card. So this is basically, our unique feature in the market. It's a really big, important, unique feature because you're going to take the stress away from your guests at that point. That's the only thing they're going to have to do for their security deposit. Sat in their sofa with their phone, it's just going to take 30 seconds to share their card details, €0 transaction, stress-free, and that's it.
It reminds me of a TV commercial. This would be like the security deposit you pay when you don't want to pay a security deposit.
Well, yeah, that's a good way of saying it.
Right. So in fact, it's really costing them nothing, but
Absolutely.
their details in case it will have to cost them something.
Exactly. The screening process, of course, is key because what we're going to do is, just like in any banking transaction, there are some natural screening processes, but we're going to add a few to that. We're going to add the fact that we're going to select cards which we can use to debit at a later date. So that's not the case of all cards, but it is the case of absolutely most cards. But we're definitely going to screen cards where that is a feature. So yeah.
So then let's say the guest has finished the stay. Let's say there was some damage. Let's say they get that email, and let's say they say it wasn't me. Let's say they want to do a charge back, or they say to the bank, no, something, whatever. How am I protected?
Well, you're fully protected. It's very different to dealing with Airbnb or Booking, where you're going to have to start proving who did what. In our case, we're a provider of a service. We're going to claim 100% of cases. And then if your guest is unhappy, then we're going to deal with that in a neutral way, but we're never going to go back on any claim which we've made. So you have full control, basically. So that's the biggest difference.
Okay, so it's like an insurance for me too.
Absolutely. So we provide a guarantee that for every claim you make, that amount will be provided.
Okay, that's very, very good. And so then at the end of the stay, the money goes back, even though you didn't take anything. The authorization or whatever it's called is cancelled, null and void.
Absolutely. We would send that automatically 20 days after the stay, or we can change that to 15 days, 30 days, whatever the property manager desires.
Yeah. Okay. That all seems pretty seamless. And just in terms of the user experience for the guest, it's just a matter of typing in their credit card number, et cetera, et cetera.
For the majority of guests, they're going to be in their sofa, secure their deposit, going to take 30 seconds, and they're going to be careful, leave the place without a scratch, and that's basically the end of it.
Well, that sounds very good. Well, I think we've already touched on it, but what is your unique selling point?
Well, that's going to be it, really. It's that light touch, and it's difficult to highlight one unique selling point. Apart from our biggest difference is that you're going to be able to focus on customer experience and just forget about this lose-lose transaction. So other solutions you're gonna have to do some kind of compromise with guest experience. In the case of Swikly, you're making no compromise on guest experience. So I would say our unique selling point is taking all the stress away from the guest experience, and not only the guest anxiety, but also your own anxiety as a property manager. What if? There are no what ifs. You are much more relaxed with your guest. And we've noticed that people who've used us for over a year have noticed basically better feedback from their guests. So it really is that the biggest difference is that now property managers can forget about this and focus on guest experience.
Yeah. Look, like I said in the introduction, security deposits was always a little bit, no one wants to deal with them, but they're necessary. And so to have something that's automated and to have something that's painless for the guest, I mean, like cost zero.
Absolutely.
And then also to have an insurance that if there is any damage, that I will be able to claim the money from that zero that you took from the guest, but you're going to look after that. Yeah, that's a pretty good service.
Absolutely. Comes with a guarantee.
Yeah, fantastic. So tell me, the emails that go out then to the guest, are they your brand I suppose if we're going to be saying we're dealing with a third party, they have to be the Swikly brand, not ours.
So the way we deal with that, of course, is that it's white label.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a look at the guest experience. So first he's going to receive this email, which is automated, with a link to secure a deposit. When you create your Swikly account, you're invited to put your logo in there, and your logo is going to follow the guest through this process. The first page the guest is going to see is basically your logo, a request coming from you for a €0 transaction in your name. And they check the details. All the detail about the name, the email, etc., is taken from the PMS. So the guest just has to check. And then he goes on to a second page, which has your logo and where he's going to share his card details. So everything in there is designed to keep the guest in known territory, your territory.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So it's really only at the end, if there's any issue, we can say we use the third party for the service.
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
And
yeah.
yeah, at that point, basically, they will have to basically tick that they've checked our terms and conditions, but also your terms and conditions. So we have them side by side.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's clear that it's a partnership, and the guest will only hear of us basically if there's an issue, if he's unhappy, and we're there to support and give the information about why the claim happened, share with them the photos, etc., etc.
Yeah. Okay, great. Now, what size company is your target audience? I mean, I suppose you really only need one property to benefit from a security deposit automation.
Absolutely, absolutely. But of course, the more the properties you have to manage, the more this issue becomes a thorn in your side,
Mm.
and the more you're going to benefit from the automation and from just getting rid of having to have this as part of your welcoming process with a negative interaction, and also the exiting process. You're not going to have to deal with these systematically, only the claims. So the bigger you are, the more you will see a benefit.
The more time you'll save. And you're right, a
Absolutely.
thorn in the side. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was always, giving back security deposits, things like that. It's time spent at the beginning and time spent at the end that's just going to be completely removed.
Exactly. And from basically the security of your computer, you're going to just get to a dashboard to make your claim. And that's it. It's going to take 30 seconds, and then we take care of the rest.
Fantastic. Now, where is your target audience?
So, of course, whenever there are rental companies, Swikly can be useful. But our target audience really are property managers,
Mm-hmm.
because this is where basically the people are scaling. It's a very dynamic industry. People are very open-minded to innovation. And so that's why we've seen very positive feedback from property managers. And that is our number one marketplace.
But where are they located? Is it global? Is your target audience Europe or America? Or you can use Swikly anywhere you are?
So we're a startup, we're European based, we're getting bigger and bigger every year. We've got good growth numbers, but obviously we want to do things well. So our target basically is mainly expanding in Western and Central Europe right now, and towards just taking it step by step. And obviously we do have Northern America as a target. We believe that first of all, we have to jump through the hoops of making sure we've developed well in all our European target markets.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, America, you'll have to wait.
But we do have interest. Obviously, we've integrated with some American partners. We do have some American interest, and
Sure.
we do have some American clients, of course, but it's just not going to be our biggest push right now.
Okay. But if there was someone in America who wanted to use Swikly, you wouldn't say no.
Please, if you find us in your marketplace, in the marketplace of your PMS, and you're looking for a solution to manage with security deposits instead of insurance, yeah, please give us a call.
Great. Now, in terms of pricing, then, how does the pricing work?
So obviously our customers have very, how can I say, seasonal activity, quite a lot of them. So we didn't think it was the right thing to ask for a monthly fee, because that would mean that this monthly fee is going to have to be paid all year round. So we also understand that depending on the channels, you might want or not want to have a security deposit in place. So on that basis, it felt like the best thing to do was to integrate a percentage of the amount secured and then a percentage of the amount claimed. So you're going to get 2 lines in your invoice related to these 2 types of transactions. And
Okay.
that's it.
Yeah. So you just touched on something that I forgot to ask you about earlier on when you were talking about channels. So let's say I have a property and let's say it's just on 3 channels, but let's say Airbnb is one of them. And let's say I don't want to ask for a security deposit on Airbnb. So on the dashboard, for each property, do I say send it for every channel or send it for every channel, but not Airbnb? I can manipulate all the channels that this automatic email goes to, right?
Absolutely. That would be from your PMS.
Yeah.
So the PMS basically is your center to manage everything. And for the automation choices, that would be in the PMS. Absolutely. So you choose a channel, you choose an amount, you can select by property, you can select by channel, you can select by a number of things, but absolutely all from your PMS. And as I said, we will do the integration with you. You will tell us your preferences. We will help you set it up, and then we're good to go. We don't take care about it anymore.
Great, good. So, and then given that it's a percentage per security deposit, then there's no contract, is there?
So there is a contract, but that would just be to formalize an agreement. So just to remind you, it's going to be this much per transaction and it's going to be this much per claim. And that would be it. But in the sense that there's no minimum which will be requested from you, you're right. We're not going to ask for any minimum. There's no minimum requirement.
Great. Okay. Look, we've reached the end of the usual questions. Was there something about Swikly that we haven't learned about yet?
Well, I guess we're all about security deposits. And I think what we've understood is that we can just basically get rid of all the stress around security deposits thanks to us. So if your listeners have understood this, then that's great, because that's the number 1 message. So from the guest perspective, a very light touch, you're going to get better feedback, and for yourself, you're going to save a lot of time and energy and stress. So hopefully it'll be easier to manage your property management business. Yeah.
So as a property manager, I sign up with you guys and then I sit back and relax because you're looking after my security deposits and my guests are not unhappy because they're not actually paying anything, but yet I'm still covered. And then if there is something wrong, you look after it. Sounds like a big win.
That's very well said, Deborah. You've got it.
Well, Nicholas, it's been a pleasure learning about Swikly. I will pop a link in the description below. If you have any questions for Nicholas or Swikly, please do pop them in the comments below. Nicholas, it's been a pleasure learning about Swikly.
Thank you very much for the invite, Deborah. It was a pleasure for me too.
Thank you very much. Bye. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to catch up on ones you've missed, just head to thetechexplainedseries.com, or if you're short for time, you can head to thetechminis.com, where you'll find extra short interviews. See you next time.